Today we are talking about Tales of the Jedi Episode 3, Title Choices. And man, we are starting to ramp it up. Hello there, troopers, and welcome back to General Kenobi's Bunker. Thank you so much for joining me on this series where we are talking about Tales of the Jedi. In this episode, we got sort of the good cop, bad cop dynamic going on, and of course, we got none other than Master Windu joining us. So here, a few years have passed since the previous episode. We can see that Dooku has, he's rocking already the facial hair, looking good. Mace Windu looks just about the same as he always has. And they are sent to a planet to recover the body of Master Katri, who was a Jedi Master and also member of the High Council. And right off the bat, we get introduction to both very different points of view for these two Jedi Masters. Dooku just keeps going over the report of the incident where Master Katri was killed. Apparently she was ambushed and, she was shot while protecting the senator of the planet. And so they are, he is suspicious of how did this happen, right? There's not much detail in this report. To which Dooku says, hey, that's not our job to investigate, right? We came here to pick up the body and basically, haul it back to Coruscant so that we can have a proper burial for her. And Dooku says this line that I loved. And he says, my friend, your love or your devotion to the rules is sometimes inspiring and sometimes maddening. So again, you see Dooku is pretty fed up by this point with all the rules, all the restraints that the Jedi impose on themselves. And I think this one especially hits him because it's one of theirs, right? It's one of their main Jedi Masters because, again, Master Katri was member of the Jedi High Council. So, he's taking it very personal and he definitely wants to find out what really happened. And so they arrive to the planet Raxus Secundus. They are met with local guards, which seem to be palace guards for the senator. And they are taken to the senator's office where Dooku right away starts asking questions. How did this happen? How did Master Katri die? There's stuff missing on your report, stuff like that. And the senator, he's obviously nervous being interrogated because he did not expect it. And he's basically saying, yeah, I went out without guards to meet an informant because there's supposed to be a group of rebels here in Raxus Secundus. And I wanted to negotiate with them. And so he told me I could get, a meeting through him. And but I had to go alone. So I decided to do it because, I'm very devoted to keeping the peace. And Master Katri, being the Jedi, she didn't want to let me go by myself, and then it ended up being an ambush, and she basically got killed, saving me. And so Windu's like, okay, yeah, well, we got our answers. Let's just, grab what we need to grab, and let's get out of here. And Dooku's like, well, can we see where the ambush happened, right? And the senator is like, you know what? I don't really want to go back there. It's kind of, I feel bad, going back. And Windu again is like, yeah, no, that's fine. We've taken enough of your time. Let's just go. But the local guards say, yeah, we'll take you. There's no problem in going. Windu again tells Dooku, hey, we're overstepping. We weren't certain here to investigate. And we should just, get the body and go like we were supposed to. And Dooku tells him, if this would happen to you, would you want Master Katri to just leave without finding out what really happened? And Windu says, I would want her to follow protocol. And he doesn't even respond, and he just like turns around and walks away. So again, it's just kind of like that dynamic where Dooku knows very well he won't change, Windu's mind. So he's not even gonna waste the energy in trying to do so. So they take a ship and they go into the forest where they find, a forest with many tall trees and a lot of blaster marks in sort of a pattern around the trees, right? A couple of lightsaber, cuts. And so, of course, immediately Dooku starts looking around. But then Mace Windu joins him, because I think he's noticing the same thing, that it doesn't add up. Dooku starts asking again questions to the senator, saying, okay, well, what really happened? So, you got out of your ship here and they started shooting at you immediately. Like, is that what it was? And he's like, yeah, I think so. And so he starts, of course, getting nervous. And even Windu starts joining him in saying, hey, why are there no blaster marks if they were shooting at you? So your ship would have gotten hit as well. And there's no damage at all. So, it doesn't add up. Dooku, of course, keeps telling him, I don't think this is how it happened. I think Master Katri was ambushed by somebody who she thought was friendly, because it's very rare for a Jedi to be, ambushed like that and be killed. And so he keeps pushing and pushing. He draws his lightsaber, and of course, the senator breaks and runs towards them and tells them that the guards did it, right? And so the guards start shooting, and out of the trees we got battle droids, which I gotta tell you, these guys look pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of want, some figures based off of these guys. They look pretty dope. Okay, they reminded me of some of the droid designs for the Old Republic, and so I think they look pretty cool. Of course, a lot of them start shooting both Windu and Dooku. The senator is dead. He was shot in the back by one of the guards, and the two Jedi Masters just go to town on these droids. And it was really cool to see, Dooku and Windu just sort of let loose, and both of them are really powerful, right? Remember, these are probably the top, swordsmen in the Jedi Order at this point, and they show it, right? They make short work of all the droids. They dispatch the guards, they disarm them, and of course, eventually they get to the two, basically the ringleaders, right? And both of them have them at sword point or at saber point, and one of them decides to go for his gun, shoots Windu. Windu deflects the bolt and kills the guy, right? So I thought it was interesting that it was actually Windu who killed the a guy that he had already defeated. It was short range, so yeah, you could argue, he didn't really control the way the blaster bolt was deflected. Like, he just, randomly deflected it. Anyway, the point is that you could tell that Windu didn't feel great about that. So the remaining guard, which seems to be the captain or, the commander, confesses to the whole thing, saying, yeah, we killed Master Katri. We're part of basically a rebellion that discovered that the senator was selling off Raxus Secundus. He's bringing off-world companies to ransack, our natural resources. And so we were trying to grab the senator so that they could, use him for their own agenda, right? So force him to make, changes that they wanted. But they didn't count on Master Katri accompanying the senator, and so they had to, shoot her. And Windu, of course, being the by the book guy, tells them, why didn't you talk to Katri, right? Why didn't you talk to? She was a master. She was a Jedi. She would have listened. She would have helped you guys. And so the rebel, right, tells him, Jedi are lapdogs of the Senate, right? Anything that the Senate says is law for the Jedi. So the Jedi really are only protecting the rich and powerful. They don't care about the people. And both, Windu and Dooku don't really have an answer for that, which I thought was kind of cool, because I think that they both felt, he's not entirely wrong about it. Anyway, they take him prisoner, and I like this scene where Dooku visits him on his cell and tells him, basically, your methods were wrong, but your cause was just. And he tells him, you didn't do it right, but you had every right to protect your planet. And he tells him, don't, keep inspiring your people. They will need you, and, keep the hope alive. So he basically is saying, yes, you're right. This situation sucks. the senators are corrupt. They're damaging the planets and the people, and you were wrong in in killing Master Katri, but I understand why you did it. Then they finally get Master Katri's body back into their ship, and Dooku, asks Windu, "Do you really think we can bring peace and order if all we are doing is following the Senate's or commands?" And Windu says, "Well, luckily we're not run by politics or ego. We have our own High Council, right?" And they basically leave for Coruscant. Then we get this really cool scene for a Jedi funeral at the Jedi Temple in Coruscant, and we see, of course, some familiar faces: Ki-Adi-Mundi, Sa-Satine, Plo Koon, Yoda, obviously, Master Windu, and others, right? Remember, this is still just before Episode 1, so there's still a different roster of Jedi. Then, right after the funeral, Dooku asks Windu to speak, just with him. And it turns out that they are offering Master Katri's council seat to Mace Windu. And Windu says, yeah. And Dooku asks him, "Did you know this before we went on the mission? Before we went to Raxus Secundus?" And Windu says, "Nope. I was just as surprised as you were." But I gotta be honest with you, he says it in a way that I didn't buy it, 100%. I don't know if he was lying, okay? I guess technically he doesn't really have a reason to lie at this point. But there was something about the tone, maybe the way the line was delivered, that I was like, didn't you know? Like, because he even makes it a point and tells Dooku, "We were both together when the mission was assigned to us." So he even takes it one step ahead, or one step further, I should say, into proving I didn't know anything about me getting the council seat, which only makes me believe that he did know he was going to be offered the council seat. So I actually really enjoyed this little interaction, or this little dialogue between Dooku and Windu, because again, if Windu really did know, it just shows how corrupt the Jedi Council actually was. Mace Windu sort of flips it on Dooku and says, "Hey man, I followed, the rules. I executed the mission by the book. You went off and you got a senator killed by your actions, right?" He's like, "So I'm gonna try to talk to the Jedi Council, now that I'm a part of it, mind you, so that they won't punish you, right?" And Dooku kind of looks at him saying, "This is pointless." And all he says is, "Well, how kind of you, Master Jedi." And Windu leaves, and Dooku just turns around and just stares into Coruscant. But you get that feeling, that he's like, I'm done with this. Like, this is too much. This cannot continue. So that is it for this episode. I loved, again, seeing the relationship between Dooku and other Jedi, especially Mace Windu. We know they've gone through a lot of stuff together. We know they are, they were basically on the same level in terms of the Jedi Order. They were highly renowned masters, highly renowned sword fighters, right? Their techniques were basically top notch, and to see this, play out as again, kind of like the good cop, bad cop type of thing. But I think what I enjoyed the most was the doubt that they seeded for Mace Windu. Was Mace Windu a little bit corrupt already? Like, I never even considered it, to be honest, before. I just thought he was, arrogant. But this episode sort of poses the question, was he also power hungry? Did he play by the book every time because he wanted to be able to reach the High Council? So I don't know. It's just one of those things that I really enjoyed about the stories being told here. Yes, they are short, and in general, we know what's gonna happen, but they are introducing, I guess, new light on old stories that we thought we knew. But as always, let me know down in the comments what you guys think. What was this, something you would expect from a Windu and Dooku mission, together? So yeah, I'm interested to read your comments on this. Also, please do not forget to leave a like on this video. Subscribe if you haven't, and thank you so much if you already have. And I would greatly appreciate it if you can share the content with people you think would enjoy it. That greatly helps out the channel. So thanks again, and I'll catch you on the next one.